Oh my god! The woman hit the door of the city by mistake, but she didn't want to hide countless corpses inside. The mother's song really brought destruction and glory, and it can cause bloodshed wherever she goes. Welcome to watch the 6th episode of the 3rd season of Daryl Dixon. The story follows the end of the last episode. Daryl says goodbye to the town of Moffing, and continues to head for Barcelona. On the way, when adding fuel, he suddenly heard the sound of a car honking behind him. He immediately held the gun to warn, but he didn't want to get out of the car. But it turned out to be the town's first Paz. Daryl smiled, and the two soon arrived in Barcelona. It turned out that Paz had lived here for a while when he was a child, and he was familiar with the surrounding terrain. But he wanted to grab Dina from the king, and they had to find someone to help. The two turned around and left the square, and ignored the dead bodies around them. They came to a community gate, and Paz said that he had a good friend who married here, but they haven't seen each other for more than 10 years. Daryl was about to knock on the door, but a large number of dead bodies suddenly emerged from the forest, and the two had no choice but to fight back. The two were fighting fiercely, and the community gate opened from the inside. A few survivors held a bow and arrow, and led Daryl and Dina in. Confirming the crisis is over, Paz finally saw his long-lost best friend. The two were excited for a while, and only later did they learn that there were only a dozen people in this community. But in recent years, a lot of girls have escaped from the county. Daryl took the opportunity to answer, "They are also here to find trouble with the king of the alliance." However, Paz said that the community could not face the allied forces head-on. These years, they have been hiding in the dark, sitting by the table full of delicious food. Paz introduced to the public that these girls were presented as gifts to the king. They were tortured in the castle, and it was a miracle that they could escape alive. Daryl was still thinking about saving Dina. "When is the next county ceremony?" The community members replied that it was 2 days later. Once the king entered the inner city, no one could tell him apart, because the inner city was surrounded by rivers. Although the river was dry, it was full of corpses. The only exit was that bridge. Daryl was very moved after seeing it. He thought it was a perfect ambush site. He noticed that his bestie was afraid. Paz also joined the persuasion line. He came to Barcelona this time in addition to saving his friend Dina and his lover Elena. This is a mutual friend. After Daryl's promise to kill the king, his bestie finally agreed to act with them. In the middle of the night, Daryl dreamed of his brother being beaten by his drunk father in order to protect himself. When he woke up from the nightmare, he found Paz sitting by the fire. The girl took the initiative to talk about her regret. She and Elena started to love each other until the first county ceremony in the town. Elena was given to the king by the town chief. Paz and his bestie followed the alliance team and passed several towns. Unfortunately, due to the difficulty of rescue, his bestie stayed here to settle down. Only Paz was still trying to find a way to save his lover. As a result, the alliance team caught him. He was thrown to the side of the road and waited to die. Unfortunately, Paz was not eaten by the dead, and he gradually froze in the cold. Until not long ago, he saw Elena's shadow again. He decided to fight again no matter what. He couldn't let his life be regretful. After listening to his mother's song, he kept silent. He thought of his dead brother, and the scar left in his heart. Everyone has different pain. His mother lost a lot of people, but he was trying to make up for his regret. This is also the reason why he insisted on rescuing Elena. The next morning, the king's team slowly entered the inner city. Paz and his bestie were ambushed on both sides. It turned out that they had already settled down the guards here. The city gate was not open. The alliance team had to stop and check. While this spy Paz was driving a garbage truck to rush forward, he completely blocked the way for the alliance troops to retreat. With a gunshot, the survivors of the community on both sides opened fire at the same time. The bow and arrow collided with the bullet. The alliance guards died countless times in an instant, but their weapon quality was at the top. Not long after, the situation calmed down. The king and the queen were also transferred to another car. Paz and Elena exchanged glances in confusion. Although it was just for a moment, both sides understood each other's feelings, and the spy here also found the car that locked up Dina. It's a pity that this honest lock is very solid. The meeting could not be held for a while. Even if you find the key, you have to try it one by one. The spy here took out the killer arrow and was ready to shoot the king to death. Paz was worried that his lover would be implicated. A shot pushed the spy away. As a result, the cannon shot at the city gate. The corpses trapped in the river came out one by one. The spy rushed to the king regardless. As a result, he was shot first. After falling to the ground, he was soon swallowed by the corpse dog. At this time, the city gate had been blown open by the cannon. The king took the car team and flew towards the city gate. However, the spy still failed to open the door. He could only watch Dina go away from it. The rescue and assassination mission failed. Everyone couldn't help but be discouraged. However, Nuge and Paz did not give up. They said goodbye to their comrades in the community. They were ready to sneak into the palace of the inner city and fight with these evil Alliance soldiers to the death. Nuge was beaten to death here. Kama in the small town was enjoying the rare tranquility. He and Anthony were watching the video that was shot by Robert. When Anthony was thinking about his dead wife, the mayor came into the room by himself. The picture in the video was a little out of his mind. Anthony turned off the TV in a panic. The mayor instantly regained his composure and asked where Nuge was. Kama lied to him. Nuge was still repairing the ship by the sea. The mayor did not tell this lie. He followed his subordinates to the gate of the small town. Someone had found the 3 guards of the king's disappearance. The mayor subconsciously speculated that they were killed by Nuge. He instinctively identified Nuge as a threat to the Alliance. When he returned home, the mayor's mother urged him not to think about work all day. It's time to consider getting married and having children, the mayor replied casually. When his mother left, he took a picture in the drawer. This is Anthony's dead wife. Unexpectedly, the mayor and she were still lovers. No wonder the two of them were not dealing with each other from the beginning. Although Anthony's face was destroyed, there was a faint smell in his hand. Kama was learning Spanish. His affection for her was getting stronger and stronger. When the two returned to the room, Robert suddenly had a high fever. The two of them did not have time to think about it. The top priority was to give him an antipyretic. However, the mayor had all the resources for the medicine. The two of them could only go to the mayor. The mayor refused because of the shortage of supplies. After all, the Alliance army sent very limited medicine to the town every year. Anthony felt the hostility from the mayor. He could only sigh and leave the room. Unconsciously, near midnight, Robert had no sign of a fever. Anthony was crying with a long face. Kama couldn't stand it anymore. He silently carried his equipment out of the house. He accidentally saw a dead wild cat. Kama instantly guessed that he was about to come to the mayor's house and easily avoided patrol guard. He sneaked into the mayor's office. It turned out that Kama wanted to help Robert steal a few bottles of antipyretic. The mayor's mother suddenly walked in. She didn't choose to be tough but to complain about the mayor's discomfort. She said that she was worried that she would expose her manipulation of the county competition. That's why she forcibly sent Tina away. Robert's condition worsened. It is also possible that it was the mayor who did it. The old lady was moved by Kama's sincerity and finally chose to let go of the other party. The next morning, after Robert took the medicine, he had a fever. Kama sighed, but he also understood that this place should not stay for a long time. He suggested that he first go to the old captain's house on the beach and wait for Nuga to come back. They set off for the United States. However, Anthony said that he would not leave. Under Kama's constant questions, he finally came up with a plot. In order to shoot a documentary, Anthony persuaded his wife to interview a government official, but he didn't want this to suddenly explode. His wife was shocked and died on the spot. Over the years, Anthony has been hiding the truth. He was afraid that Robert would know that his mother died because of him. The mayor is one of the few people who knows the truth, so he forced Anthony to stay in the town and not do anything out of line. Kama understood Anthony's pain and had to leave with Robert first. He knew that if he left, he would never see Anthony again. His inner feelings could not be contained anymore. After the two of them left one by one, Kama took Anthony, who was hiding, to the outskirts of the town, but he did not want to arrive at the city gate, and was accidentally intercepted by the mayor. The other party insisted on inspecting Kama's car. When the atmosphere on the scene was tense, Anthony suddenly stood up. He deliberately mentioned Tina in front of everyone, and even hinted that the mayor was worried that Robert would leak the secret after he woke up. The mayor's eyes revealed panic, and he did not want to make a scene. In the end, he chose to let go. Looking at the back of Kama's departure, Anthony's thoughts go back to many years ago. After the car exploded, he took his wife to the hospital, but his wife became a corpse in his arm. This is the 6th episode of the 3rd season of Daryl Dixon. The next episode will welcome the big ending of this season. Daryl Dixon will break into the palace with a handkerchief. Anthony and the mayor are completely broken this time. The grudges are together. The mayor will never let go of the other party. Kama will not sit idly by. What kind of bloody storm will he cause in the town? If you want to know the answer, please continue to pay attention.